What if a city became powerful not because it was ancient or political or royal, but because it learned how to produce faster than anywhere else, not by tradition, but by transformation? Because in the case of Manchester, industry did not arrive in the city became industry. Welcome to the making of Britain. Unlike London, Liverpool or Bristol, Manchester has no natural harbour. It does not sit on a major navigable river in the way that coastal cities do. Instead, its early importance came from its position in inland Lancashire, close to water sources and, crucially, close to the raw materials and transport routes that could be adapted. The surrounding region contained fast-flowing rivers and streams suitable for water power, and it lay within a reach of wool and later cotton supply chains. Manchester was not initially a great city. It was a market town that became something far larger because of timing, geography, and technological change. By the late 17th and early 18th centuries, Manchester was already developing as a centre for textile production. The cotton industry in particular began to expand rapidly. Raw cotton imported from overseas was processed in workshops and small-scale domestic systems. Merchants in Manchester coordinated production across the surrounding villages, creating a network of spinning and weaving that extended beyond the town itself. The system, known as the putting out system, was flexible but limited. Production was still dependent on human labour at a relatively small scale. What changed this was the introduction of machinery. The availability of water power in the surrounding region played a crucial role in Manchester's early industrial development. Rivers and streams feeding into the River Irwell and its tributaries provided energy for early textile mills. These mills concentrated production in single locations, bringing workers and machinery together under one roof. The shift from dispersed production to centralised factories marked a major change in economic organisation. Manchester became a place where production was not just expanded, it was reorganised. As you're still walking with me, you can really support this channel by liking this video. It helps YouTube show it to far more people who may enjoy it. Thanks. The late 18th century brought rapid technological change. Innovations in spinning and weaving increased output dramatically. Machines such as the spinning jenny and later the power loom transformed production speed and scale because it combined access to raw materials, labour and emerging infrastructure. The development of canals such as the Bridgewater Canal improved transport of coal and goods, reducing costs and increasing efficiency. The city was no longer just producing textiles, it was becoming a system of production. At this stage, it's worth asking, was Manchester transformed by invention, or was it simply the place where existing changes became concentrated? Did industry create the city, or did the city create the industry possible at scale? Share your thoughts in the comments, because the answers changes how we understand industrial Britain. The introduction of steam power removed the final constraint of the water locations. Factories no longer needed to be positioned directly on rivers. This allowed Manchester to expand rapidly and restructure itself. The city grew outwards, absorbing surrounding settlements and creating dense urban districts. Ancoats became one of the earliest and most significant factory areas, often described as the world's first industrial suburb. Here, mills operated continuously, powered by steam engines and supplied by increasingly complex transport networks. Industrial growth brought large numbers of workers into Manchester. People migrated from rural areas in search of employment, leading to rapid population growth. Housing was built quickly, often with limited planning. Living conditions varied, but in many areas were densely packed and closely tied to the factory life. The rhythm of the city was shaped by industrial time, shifts, factory bells, and production cycles. A worker in Manchester did not simply live in a city, They lived within a system of production that defined daily life. If you subscribe, there's a whole back catalogue of videos like this one for you to enjoy. As Manchester grew, it also became a centre of political debate. Industrialists and workers alike engaged in discussions about trade, labour rights and representation. The city was not only producing goods, it was producing ideas about how society should be organised. The connection between industry and political reform became increasingly visible, particularly as economic power in the city contrasted with a limited political representation in Parliament. By the 19th century, Manchester was deeply connected to the global trade network. Cotton imported from the American South and other regions was processed in the city and exported as finished goods around the world. This created a global system in which Manchester was a key node. The city's growth depended on these international connections, and its industrial output influenced economies far beyond Britain. It was no longer an isolated centre of production, it was part of a global industrial system. In the 20th century, Manchester's industrial dominance declined as global manufacturing shifted and industries evolved. Mills closed or were repurposed, and the city underwent significant economic restructuring. However, its legacy remains embedded in its urban form, institutions, and cultural identity. Modern Manchester is shaped by its industrial past, even as it has diversified into other sectors. The structures built during its industrial rise still define parts of the city today. If Manchester became the first industrial city, not because it was planned, but because conditions aligned at the right moment, what does that suggest about how cities evolve? Are they shaped by intention or by the convergence of opportunity and geography? Because the story of Manchester is not just about industry. It's about how a place can become something entirely new and never fully return to what it once was. YouTube has chosen this video for you to watch next because you've watched this. Have a look, I think you'll enjoy it. If you ding the bell, you'll be notified when new episodes are published so you don't miss any. Thanks for walking a little further along the road that built Britain with me. Bye.